Good morning and welcome to your Farm and Home Show. I'm Kristi Shive, and this morning we're visiting with Tiffany Bolinger. She's Christian County's agent for Family and Consumer Sciences. You are going to walk us through some steps that we can take to find better life balance.
A lot of times you'll hear it called life-work balance, but I like to just call it life balance because work is a huge part of our life. So it all kind of falls into piece together. And so life balance is a harmonious blend of occupational, familial, social, and leisure pursuits. And I think that that is great because we want all aspects of our life to really flow well together. And in order to do that, there are 5 keys to life balance that we can pay particular attention to be successful in being more balanced across the board. The first key is to set priorities. This one can be especially difficult because it's all about what do you value. And while we think it would be easy to realize what we value, a lot of times if you ask someone, what do you value the most? They'll start listing out their relationships, their family, all of those type of things. But when you think about how we prioritize our time, do we put it in that order? A lot of times we don't. A lot of times we are going and building our priorities based on what someone else tells us to value, maybe what our community tells us or where we live, but not necessarily what might be most valuable to us. So in setting your priorities, really take a look at what do I value and how can I put that into play so that my life can be more balanced and I can spend more of my time on the things that I value most so that I'll feel better about the things that I'm spending my time on. The second one is say no. We want to say yes to everything because we want people to like us and we want to be generally helpful. But sometimes we have to be really careful that we don't overcommit ourselves because when we do too much, then we feel like we don't have the time to commit to those other things that we value, that we prioritize.
And I recently heard a statement that said being honest about saying no is actually very helpful because if we say yes to everything, we're probably going to have to say no at the last minute because we
Mhm.
can't take on everything. So being honest up front and having that forethought of how much can I handle is really going to be more beneficial.
Sometimes we think in order for me to be kind to someone, I have to say yes, I have to commit to the thing they've asked me to do. But it's better if we commit to things that we can do really well and really spend that time to go 100% than to overcommit and then feel like we're not giving our best to the things that we've said we wanted to do. Also, relying on others. It's always okay for us to ask for help. Get a coworker, get your spouse, get someone to in there and ask them if they can help pick up the slack when you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed. So, key 3 is stop wasting time. Basically, setting daily goals. Setting what do I want to accomplish just for today, not in the long run, because that can get overwhelming. So, we want to kind of put it down and focus it. Make sure that we are taking breaks during the day so that we feel like we're getting more accomplished. Make sure that we leave our work at work because, again, our priorities, if we're taking work home with us, then what we were prioritizing at home isn't getting done either. And then there's a concept called to develop a digital divide. And
Mm.
that's kind of where you separate your personal apps and emails and things from your work apps and emails and try to keep them from crossing over. So, step 4 is plan ahead. This is simply just planning for your week ahead, things like scheduling self care, meal planning ahead of the week, and scheduling family and social time. Because what we know is if it's not on my calendar, it's probably not going to happen. And then finally, reflect. Take time to check in on yourself. How is my balance? What is weighing me down? Am I honoring those values that I said I have? And then readjust as necessary. And this is something you'll have to check yourself with on a regular basis. But if you can do those 5 things, you will feel much more well balanced.
How can someone listen to your podcast?
Yes, so you can go find us at lifesimplifiedpodcast.podbean.com.
Okay.
Or you can find us anywhere that you listen to your podcast. So we're on all of those different ways that you can stream. And actually, this podcast that we just discussed, we did a balance episode back in January. So you can go back and look for it and get all the details.
Thanks for joining us today on the Farm and Home Show, and we'll see you next time.